Thank you for coming to today's episode of the virtual road trip. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining me, Rick. Today's guest is Rick from HyVida, which is
HyVida.
a sparkling water infused with hydrogen and magnesium.
It is. It
Comes in
is.
3 flavors. Today I'm drinking the pure or unflavored one.
Right.
Looks like you have the lemon lime,
I do.
and then there's
Yep.
also a raspberry.
Correct. And it's sneak peek our next production. Look at this new look.
Yes.
Like that. A little bit of fun.
Yeah, I really like the new cans.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. We're so excited about that. So excited.
I'm definitely excited to have them. I think that that's going to add a lot of value or perceived value for people who might see it on the shelves.
Well, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that's what we went after.
Mm-hmm.
And it's everything is a learning curve. I went at this because hydrogen, I learned about hydrogen. I lived in the Berg and I worked for a pretty advanced semiconductor company in Pittsburgh for about 12, 13 years. And we grew crystals and they ended up being advanced medical imaging devices.
Cool.
And so I learned a lot about material science and all that fun stuff. We ended up taking it public but I learned a lot about, advanced medical kinds of products and the research. And I heard about hydrogen. I was like, oh, wow, this is really cool. So I went to Japan. People were doing it, and there's probably 20 different products out in the market with hydrogen in it. And there's these machines and supplements and things. And I said, geez, here's this super healthy ingredient that's clean and there's no calories, and it works in your physiology different than how vitamin C works. And I was like, but nobody knows how to put it in a fun product.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want it to be in the pharmacy aisle, right? You can see the branding evolution now. It's like, man, this is going to be right at the checkout lane, and maybe it's going to be in Sheets, or 7-Eleven, but
Or even
that's
Wawa.
that's right, or Giant Eagle,
Yeah.
um, so or your place,
Yes, it's already here.
that's right. But and my wife's a big sparkling water drinker, and she's like, I like the concept. Figure out how to add it to sparkling water. And nobody had ever figured out how to add hydrogen to a carbonated beverage. And I used my material science background, other process backgrounds and things, and I figured out a very effective way to add it to any standard manufacturing method. And actually, now we're adding it to beers, hard ciders.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's making it taste smoother, and outside of the health benefits, it actually is smoother on the palate, more palatable. People say they can drink them faster, which every microbrewery wants to hear that. So we're having a lot of fun. I had a full head of hair when I started this, but anyway, that's kind of how I got here. But what's really exciting is we've got our first patent, we've got more on the way, and back to the beers and things. So now we have a whole licensing division. So we've got about 25 accounts that we're courting and a couple partnerships to add hydrogen capability into almost any type of beverage. So, my goal is to make it ubiquitous. I think it's a super healthy ingredient. And why not put it in fun products that people like to drink?
So, what can you tell us what some of the benefits are? Why are we putting hydrogen in our drink?
Just to be different. No, it's so I went into this because hydrogen's shown to be extremely therapeutic. Um, so, as an example, the way it works is it's a little bit of science here. As I said, I work for a high tech in Pittsburgh, but hydrogen is element number one on the periodic table, so it's the lightest element, right? And it's H2, so it's the molecular structure of hydrogen. And so it's because it's so light, it can penetrate through your cellular membranes, which you have something called your blood-brain barrier, things like that. It's 88 times lighter than vitamin C. All right. But the way it works is it modulates or balances your cellular behavior. This is what makes it really powerful. Because of that, to this day, with 1,500 studies, The Department of Defense has studied it, and people are inhaling it and all this stuff. You cannot overdose from it because it brings you to balance. Like caffeine, you can overdose because it's pushing you to as a stimulant one way, right? And you can have an excess amount where, you know, it moves you right to the middle. And if you have too much, you would actually just exhale it out. And so it works on your physiology differently. And by balancing your cellular behavior, it then means that it works as an antioxidant, which most people understand what that is, but it goes beyond that. And it becomes what they call the next phase in functional beverages and things are terms like adaptogens,
Yep.
which allow your body to adapt to the environment. So by balancing your cells, like if you're getting, you know, pollen season, you're getting allergies, you're starting to get this reaction, right? An autoimmune reaction, and your cells start to produce inflammation and various inflammatory responses. And it can kind of say, hey, mellow that out. At the same time, if you're, you know, if you've got, and these are studies, these are clinical studies, if you have anxiety, studies have shown that it can calm you. And then there's studies that show if you have metabolic syndrome, which means your metabolism's too slow, typically those, you know, the result is you're overweight. Just hydrogen in water has shown to boost your metabolism, and you're metabolizing oxygen and things. So it's really amazing what it's doing. And as an example, because of that modulator effect, and it's a buffer, it's shown to help with COVID. It's actually in China. Inhaling hydrogen is approved in China as a therapeutic treatment for COVID-19 for the respiratory issue. It's approved in Japan by the Japanese FDA by inhaling it for cardiac arrest syndrome. And then a lot of holistic medicine doctors and so forth are looking into it. Nursing schools now are being trained on hydrogen inhalation for folks, particularly with migraines and things. The challenge you have with some of these migraines are you can only take so many medications. And so what they're looking for, that balancing effect to try to bring you back and calm and you know, just get the cells to behave normally. And that's why I went into it. And it just so happened when I added a carbonated beverage and a method for adding it, it made it smoother. The hydrogen kind of buffers, if you like, or kind of throttles back some of that bitter, tarty kind of burn you would get from a traditional carbonated water. And it just makes it smoother, which, you know, has really been favorably received by everybody. They're like, wow, you know, I can drink it faster, that sort of thing. So that's in a long roundabout way. Now, how do I say it in 2 words so that, you know, with people with ADD can make a buying decision?
That's so interesting. I mean, before coming across your product, and I was actually at a store to pick up some other products, but I saw it on the shelf and I was like, sure, let me try this one. Why not? And then I looked it up online and I read all about it on your website. And I had, you know, never thought about hydrogen as a beneficial compound to consume. It also has magnesium in here, and it has a higher pH than most sparkling waters. And those were things that appealed to me. Like, I take a magnesium supplement for all kinds of reasons, and that one I at least have some understanding of. And the pH, I think a lot of people understand as well. A higher pH meaning it's less acidic. I did not know that most sparkling waters were rather acidic. So that was an interesting thing to learn. And I agree, this is a smoother sparkling water to drink. I've made lots of people try it, all positively received.
Good. Now, don't make them try anything else.
Oh, don't worry, I make them try lots of things. But why? So that was all a bunch of things that have clinical studies about why hydrogen is beneficial. Why did you decide to do magnesium and the high pH as well with that?
I'm not that clever. That's the answer. So this gets into our patent or patents. This a certain type of form of magnesium in the right environment if you deposit it in water, will react with the water, the H2O, and it bonds with the oxygen and it liberates the H2. So our method,
Okay.
which makes it scalable and economical, is that we're actually not physically putting hydrogen gas into the beverage.
Oh, so you're adding the magnesium, which then reacts and releases the hydrogen?
That's correct. So yeah, in our
Interesting.
method, that's what happens. And you deposit it, and a few seconds later, the lid is sealed on top,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes a few hours. It's a slow kind of controlled reaction, and it creates the hydrogen from within the can.
Cool.
Yeah, so it makes it more scalable. If this is kind of entrepreneurial side of me, and the business side is like, if I'm going to do this and you want to really scale it and you want to make it ubiquitous,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where I recognize from a technological perspective is this is a technology opportunity. So we're as much of kind of like a beverage tech company as we are a beverage brand.
Mm-hmm.
And so the concept here is, okay, so here's, nature's most efficient antioxidant, and nobody knows how to effectively and efficiently put it into a product without it being a really boutique kind of special,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like modified microbrew. And the challenge with that is, if what's Coca-Cola going to do with that if they ever want, or a Pepsi or somebody big, if you were growing, this
Mm-hmm.
becomes a problem. You have, you can't get to what's called an economy of scale. And then when you're growing, you're spending too much capital on manufacturing and operations, where what you want to do is leverage existing production infrastructure and get it, so what we can do is just deploy a machine, which isn't terribly expensive, at maybe 20 different, what they call co-packers or independent bottlers around the country or globally, and just have them make our product, or they can make somebody else's. So that was the whole concept of the opportunity. And that's where, it was a question that somebody said to me, why add hydrogen to water? Doesn't water already have hydrogen in it, H2O?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a clever question. It also is a question from somebody who knows enough to be dangerous, because water also has oxygen in it.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck breathing that, right? And so it's because it's bound, the two are bound together. It's a liquid, right? But if you can liberate, and that's why I say, well, geez, every beverage has plenty of hydrogen. How do I find a pragmatic way of releasing the hydrogen from the oxygen and creating it from the can? That way we're not putting tanks of hydrogen gas at production facilities. And at that point, you're totally altering their entire manufacturing processes.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to do that. So that's a long kind of roundabout. It just so happened Mother Nature was kind and said, probably the most important mineral also happens to be very effective at creating this hydrogen.
Cool. And then is the pH the result of that, or
It
was that
is,
intentional?
yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah. There's a component in with that does elevate the pH a bit, which again, I'm just not that clever. It just happened to work out.
Very beneficially. When did you launch HyVida?
The brand we launched 2019, beginning of 2019.
Cool. So still very recent.
Yeah. We've learned a lot, and like a lot of beverage brands and startups, it's a lot of it has been just, typically your first couple of years are just trying to understand what about the product that resonates with people. Conversations with folks like you are just so valuable. And you can see that's the evolution. I mean, and there was a label that the logo looks similar, but it modified it. So this has a little more of a presence on the shelf than our first label. And then this is kind of the full rebrand, where what we have learned is, we've had a good conversation on the science, and that's fine. And you're asking a lot of probing questions. The general consumer, right, when they make that buying decision at retail, the question is, do I want it in my hand?
Mm-hmm.
Does it taste refreshing? If I invited folks over, would I want to hand them one?
Mm-hmm.
And how do I engage and experience the product? And the feedback we've received is, you think of like LaCroix as a sparkling water, it's probably most popular, Pepsi Bubbly. They're fun kind of lifestyle products.
Mm-hmm.
And what we concluded was, we need to make it more intuitive. And that's why, you know, you see the word hydrogen's actually smaller on the label. But what's bigger, antioxidant, magnesium, and organic. And it's what are three words that are more intuitive and the target consumer understands. They don't have to, you know, get
Yep.
educated. And, you know, the hope is with the colors and the fun, engaging kind of packaging, that's enough for people to say, hey, pick it up, maybe read the back, learn a little bit. And then the language then is more about, now it says keto. So we're learning all these things, right? And then, you know, we even trademarked mouth massage, which, because people say it's just smoother on my mouth, you know? So now we're being a little more edgy, and you can see I'm an engineer that's a smart ass, so that it really fits my branding, my personal brand. You know, my personality is coming out a little bit in this. So, but we're having a ton of fun. And I think, you know, the feedback we received on that packaging and things is, tells us that we don't have to be so medicinal. And, you know, what people really want is they want a fun, great tasting product. And so all of that science aside, you know, what is HyVida? It's just a healthier, better tasting sparkling water. It's organic, it's more crisp, it's smoother, you know, and it's great at night with Tito's and great in the morning to recover with it.
There you go. Yeah. For anyone who's wondering, it is just totally clear like any other sparkling water. It has a pretty small carbonation, like tighter bubbles, smaller bubbles, so it's less sharp, which I really appreciate. Not a big fan of LaCroix and the way that they're carbonated, because it's like exploding in your mouth and it's kind of, it's sharp, and I just don't really care for that level of carbonation. So this is a great one for anybody who prefers a lower or medium carbonated drink and just wants a really smooth sparkling water with extra benefits.
Well said. Very well said.
So the theme of my video series is that I am taking a road trip through the magical internet. And so you used to be here in Pittsburgh, but now you are in Michigan, and the brand is based in Michigan, right?
Correct.
So if I were visiting you up in Michigan, what are some places that you think I should check out? It can be anything. I've never been to Michigan.
Lake Michigan.
Good start.
You ever been there?
I have not.
Oh man. So if you're really good with your geography, so now I've got to do this, right? I think I got it. Detroit here, the thumb. You get okay. So from basically Indiana all the way up, it's about 400 miles. It's the single largest freshwater sand dune in the world. This side of the lake, you can't see across it. It's 80 miles. Looks like an ocean. Great sunsets. Beautiful sandy beaches. Fresh water, so you don't have to worry about sharks or any of that stuff. And about 3.5 days out of the year, it's warm enough to go in. No, it's longer than that.
It's 6 days.
Yeah, no. It's pretty good, actually. Great fishing, but a true gem. And that's kind of what brought us back. And we lived in Pittsburgh, and I got to be honest with you, there's lakes everywhere around here. We're on beaches, and I come home for the 4th. And we got young kids, and my wife's from the area up here in Michigan, and then we go back to Pennsylvania. Somebody's water skiing like on the Monongahela, and my wife and I go, "Are you freaking kidding me? They should come to Michigan. It's like Candyland up here. We have, you know, so that's got to be our signature thing. But Pennsylvania is beautiful at the hills. And it's gorgeous. You know, and there's a lot of aspects of Pennsylvania that my wife and I miss. My kids were born right in downtown Pittsburgh, so it's nostalgic for them as well. And I haven't had a Permane sandwich in like 3 years. It's killing me. You know, so and I need to see a Steeler game soon. Go downtown. I had to learn the accent. You know, I'll red up the house downtown, all that stuff. So, but great people, loved it there. Really did love a lot of aspects of being in Pittsburgh. You know, it's you can get around. It's got a bit of everything. Great culture, great resurgence. you know, and it's funny. It was like '02. I'm dating myself. I got recruited to come down there, and they picked me up at the airport, and I went through the Fort Pitt Tunnel? I think
That's one of them.
yeah, it's the Fort Pitt Tunnel. That's right. And there's the Liberty. Yeah, Fort Pitt. And it was a sunny day, and it happened to be, and they timed this. It was like September 10th, and the Steelers were playing, and it was sunny. It was like
So
the
did
only
you just get
the only
blasted in the
yeah,
ice?
it was the only sunny day for the next 18 months in
Right.
Pittsburgh. And I popped through, and I'm like, holy crap! You know, here I'm thinking steel mills, and people are gagging. It's like, man, this is beautiful. Of course, at the time I was living in Detroit, so I mean, there's only one place to go from there. So, but I was like, man, this is really nice, you know. And then, you know, so we lived there we loved it. We got a lot of friends. They come visit us, and then, you know, we come visit back there every now and then. And yeah, there's a lot going on there for sure.
Yeah,
Great
that's
schools,
great.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
So,
curious to know which beers are you working with your technology?
well, you know, like anything, when you start, you know, from an entrepreneurial perspective, it's always great to start small, right? I mean, everybody says, "Oh, well, I'd love to have Bud Light." Well, good luck.
Right.
Bud Light's design is to acquire anybody who's innovative, right? Or Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch.
Hmm.
And they get great products, and that's their thing. But you want to learn.
Hmm.
So if anybody's thinking from an entrepreneurial standpoint, that's where you can work with microbreweries, because a couple things happen. They want to be new, right? That by design. So they're okay with tinkering and having issues, and the cost of an issue is small. And so that's a fantastic place to start. Plus, they have their own canning lines, and they can play around all that stuff. But where we're having some really interesting success is on some of the stouts and porters. It's, you know, if you're familiar with like a nitro brew,
Yep.
okay,
That's exactly what I was thinking, doing this as like an alternative to a nitro. And
correct.
how does it compare to doing a nitro?
Uh, well, so on taste, nitro. So the way ours works is we would add it to a regular carbonated stout or porter.
Hmm.
And similar experience, the way you described the water, the same kind of principle applies. That what's really happening in this our process is we actually, crazy thing, but the amount of carbonation goes down a little bit in the package, and then we kind of offset it with hydrogen. And the hydrogen bubble is kind of like a nitrogen. It's really smooth. It doesn't have that bite, that acidic bite that a carbonation does. That's why you almost get that creamy, milky kind of experience, and that's why they have the nitro brew coffees. So we're adding it to a carbonated drink. So the end is you're averaging things out, and so you kind of get not quite a nitro brew, so it's a hybrid, if you
Yeah,
like.
that's what I was thinking.
But the advantage is you don't have to make a bunch of changes to your manufacturing method. It's really simple. Or you could just literally do it in the tap room by hand. We have these
Right.
little kits that you can do that, and you can seam the can seamer on top. So we're getting it in it, and it's smoother, more creamy. The other thing we've seen, hard ciders are amazing.
Cool. Yeah.
So it's really, and I'm not a
Sounds
big
great.
cider drinker. Yeah. So it can throttle back some of the tartness. Sometimes it's just too tart. And then when you add the carbonation to it, it's like tart times 5. So it mellows that out, and some more of the fruity overtones come through. And then on lighter beers. So it's, you know, you get with like a Kolsch or a Pilsner or some lighter lagers, it really makes it refreshing. You know, and so um, it's like go have a run and then go drink a beer, you know?
Yeah, I love it. So I'm a non-alcoholic bottle shop. And I can tell you that so far there are no non-alcoholic nitro beers available in the US, but I know there are a lot of people who would love to see some, or hydrogen infused, I'm sure would also be a good direction to go.
That's great. So you've got like, you know, I know like Athletic Brewing's doing really well.
Right.
Presumably you have yeah, that would be you know, plus they could make a health claim. I should,
Yeah.
I got to get a hold of those guys.
Yeah, you should. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I got to do that. All right. Now you got me thinking. Put them on my list.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So, and then interestingly, we're having some really cool success with wines.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, and I got to keep my mouth shut now because we're
Fair,
filing a potential patent or two on that.
fair enough.
And ready, are like pre-mixed or ready to drink cocktails.
Hmm.
Um,
Definitely having a time right now.
for sure. So yeah, there's a lot of funky fun, and the thing what's working for us is that people are moving to wellness,
Hmm.
and they're always looking for something healthier. And so, we can deliver that. But the unique kind of flavor experience, the things that we're doing from an effervescence and how that's impacting aroma and flavors, essentially every category of beverage is just hyper saturated. It's tough for beverage brands to stand out from the crowd. So just that desire for innovation and wellness, it makes it easier for us to kind of have a conversation with anybody who's like, well, I've got to figure out how to continue to innovate and things. So, but we're having fun.
Yeah, awesome. And you've made a really cool and unique product that seems like it's very versatile. And I look forward to seeing what all happens in the near future with you guys.
Yeah, me too. My kids are off to camp this week and I'm in my son's gaming chair. It's actually pretty comfortable. I like it. I might steal it, take it to the office.
That's really why you send them to camp, right?
Oh yeah.
He's the good
Hey,
chair.
I'm pimping your chair. You can go to camp. Get dirty. I'm pimping your chair, and I'm gonna log onto your gaming computer. I'm gonna play all these games. I'm gonna break your scores. I don't even know if you can do that. Break scores. At
No
my
idea.
my age, you used to put the quarter in and you get the high score. I don't.
Right. You can just ruin all the streaks. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been very educational and just great getting to know you a little bit and learning more about all of where HyVida came from and what it's good
Yeah,
for and why we should drink it.
absolutely. And
So thank you.
thanks for giving me an opportunity to kind of share my story a little bit. I like what you guys are doing, and
Thank you.
um, the vibe in that Lawrenceville area is just super cool. So my wife's been chomping at the bit. We've got to get back in the Berg. So
Yeah.
maybe this fall. I think
Nice.
that's a great time. I love Pittsburgh in October. So
Yeah.
cool.
And then you get all the colors.
Oh yeah, you get the hills and the colors, and I don't like it in August. It's just too damn hot for me.
That is very fair.
And
Well, if you
humid.
make it out in the fall, let me know. Come by the shop. Love to have you.
Oh hell yeah, I'm gonna swing by there. I'm gonna buy out all your HyVidas.
No, we'll do a tasting event. You can,
Ooh,
yeah, that'd be great.
nice. Very nice. Okay. Well, great. All the best to you in
And you as
Pittsburgh.
well
All
in
right.
Michigan. Thank you. All right.
Absolutely. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.